Your hard drive just got a lot faster. Elon Musk had the roughest of 420s and the 4070. Nvidia decides that they shouldn't lower the price, but let's get into the hot news, everybody. I'm your Brett host. We're going to be going over the hottest tech news I can find on the internet while you enjoy your breakfast this Friday, April 21st, 2023. And we're going to start off today talking about one of my favorite features that's rolling out for video games, and that's Microsoft's DirectStorage API, which has just rolled out 1.2. This is actually a very significant update because it allows for buffered I/O mode to hit the hard drives, which means DirectStorage can use hard drives with GPU compression and decompression, which could help to make game loading faster, even if you're not on the most flagship of SSDs that's out there. This is going to be a great feature set to allow people who have legacy hardware to still take advantage of everything that's coming out in the latest games. Now, I, for one, have never been a good proponent of hard drives, but I am always a fan of taking stuff that people already have. If you happen to have a hard drive and that's all you have in your system, now you can potentially have that better access to games loading thanks to DirectStorage 1.2. It's a great update. Hopefully your hard drive is sitting pretty in your system. But Seagate's not sitting pretty because they just got hit with a $300 million fine by the US government for supplying hard drives to Huawei, which is a problem due to the foreign direct product rule, which made it so that US companies cannot sell directly to companies like Huawei under the rule. And it turns out that Seagate since 2020 has sold roughly 7.4 million units to Huawei with a total revenue of $1.1 billion. So it does look like this fine is going to take up a lot of the profit that Seagate otherwise would have had from this. It actually roughly correlates to essentially their gross margin on their products. It looks like the US government's going to be taking all of this. This is part of a movement by the US government to try to keep US tech with US companies and not expand it over to China and have them use it in ways that the US government doesn't agree with. And the CEO of Seagate coming out and saying that they agreed to this $300 million settlement and that they believe entering this agreement with BIS and resolving this matter is in the best interest of Seagate, our customers, and our shareholders. Integrity is one of our core values, and we have strong commitment to compliance as evidenced by our global team of international trade compliance and legal professionals, complemented by external experts and outside counsel, which this just reads like corporate jargon. Essentially, they got caught. They say that they want to uphold integrity. They believe that they were doing the right thing, but they were violating the law. They knew that they were doing it the entire time. They still got to sell the units. They didn't make any profit, but they definitely got rid of the inventory. Kept things moving over the last 3 years. Seagate agreeing to pay that fine. And are you going to agree to pay for the ASUS ROG Ally? Because now we have details coming out about the specific Z1 processor that's going to be in the ROG Ally. It's supposed to be a custom version of the 7840U. And if you want to see how that performs in video games, we covered that in yesterday's episode of Hot News, which you can watch right up there. But now we have Geekbench listings showing off exactly what's custom about this chip. And the truth is, we don't know. It's got 8 cores, 16 threads, 3.3 base, 5 gigahertz boost. That's roughly what we were expecting. It also has the 12 compute unit RDNA 3. It says it's listed at 800 megahertz as the maximum frequency. If that's true, that's the custom part, which would make it way worse than everything else we were seeing, because the one we showed off in yesterday's episode of Hot News was running at 2.8 gigahertz, which is just not going to be comparable to this at all. That's likely just a mislisting by Geekbench. But based on this listing, nothing about this seems custom. All of the specs seem really in line. We're going to have to wait until ASUS gives us some official information before we understand what this custom AMD Ryzen Z1 series processor actually is. And we got more details on what the GPD Win Mini actually is going to be, thanks to the Fox YouTube channel, which you can check out in the video description or right up there. He went over some details of the Win Mini, talking about how it's going to have a 1080p display. It's going to have a new form factor that'll allow you to hold on to things, and it's going to support external GPUs using the Oculink 2 open source connection standard, which is very similar to how ASUS is doing it with the ROG Ally and their XG Mobile, except for the Oculink is a bit more open, whereas the ROG Allies is closed off to their ecosystem. It's also supposed to come in at roughly the $700 price point, but that is not going to be for the 7840U 8-core version chip. It's going to be for the 7640U 6-core version chip, which we'll have to wait and see how that performs when it comes out. But all of these likely to be very expensive. Thankfully, you got UFD Deals helping to keep the price down for you. Thanks, Reece. But you know what is a really a good deal? $8 for Twitter Blue. Are you paying it? Let me know down below in the comments. I haven't hit it up, but for those who also haven't started subscribing to Twitter Blue but had the legacy verified check marks, those are now gone, at least as of yesterday, 4/20. Elon Musk originally said that this was supposed to be killed off on April 1st, but celebrities like Baywonce and other notable figures don't have their check mark anymore. Elon Musk rolled this back from the 1st. He came out on the 11th saying that it was going to be rolled back to the 20th, and it looks like it's official this time. If you want to impersonate people, looks like it's only going to cost you 8 months to do it, and you know, Linus isn't even verified. What are you supposed to do with that? But on top of that, Twitter is rolling out some changes when it comes to API access and how much they're going to be charging major companies in order to access what used to be free, and that's turning out so that companies like Microsoft are pulling the plug on their spending, saying that they're not going to work with Twitter anymore with advertising, removing access from April 25th. And that's because Twitter's looking to charge anywhere from $42,000 to $210,000 per month for API access to service advertisers, which is something, again, that was not there before. Elon Musk not liking the fact that Microsoft is pulling out by saying lawsuit time, which is not based on the fact that they won't spend money, even though that's completely what it is. And he's just upset. Mom, Microsoft won't play with me anymore.
Go to your room.
I wasn't expecting that. He says it's because Microsoft has been illegally stealing data from Twitter because they're trying to service their AI, which Microsoft has come out several times denying and saying that this is not thievery. It's fair use. So if there is a lawsuit, I'd like to see it. The last time Elon Musk sued somebody for something everybody else saw coming, that was when he said he was going to buy Twitter and then tried to back out, but he had signed an agreement where the Twitter executives forced him to buy it. And now we're in this entire situation in the first place. He didn't think it was real, guys. He wasn't really serious. He tweeted after 3 a.m. It was a bad time for him. And also the launch of the Cybertruck's been a bad time because it was supposed to come out several years ago. And now, according to Elon Musk during the Tesla's earnings report, it's supposed to come out Q3 of this year. At least that's when the launch event for this vehicle is supposed to take place, saying that it takes time to get the manufacturing line going and it's not made in the ways that other cars are made, which means that your repair bill is going to just be sky high every single time you get a little scratch or dent inside this bad boy, or maybe even the glass shatters. But in the earnings call for Tesla, they shipped a high volume of cars, their most ever, but gross margins were down and the stock price fell roughly 10% at the news of what's going on, leading to yet another bad day for Elon and getting, it's not as bad, but his biggest rocket exploded. SpaceX Starship launched yesterday, but it also exploded a few minutes after takeoff. This was kind of expected, with SpaceX saying that all they were trying to do is make sure that it could get off the launch pad, and it was in flight for roughly 4 minutes until this happened. Kaboom. Extra kabooms falling to Earth. It really isn't the worst thing in the world. This is one of the largest rockets that's ever been launched from Earth, and so this was one of the initial tests for them to get to orbital flight. We'll continue to likely see these tests happen until it's successful as part of getting back to the moon by 2025. And I want to get back to graphics cards for a second because Zotac has announced their partnership with Across the Spider-Verse to come out with Spider-Man themed GPUs, which I absolutely love. You've got 4070 Ti, 4070 versions that I think are gonna be really cool for some theme builds, and I want to say shut up and take my money, Zotac, except for the fact that it turns out you have to win these and that they're not going to sell them, which makes me a little sad. Let me know if you would have wanted one of these GPUs down below in the comments. But it really turns out that not a whole lot of people are wanting the 4070 at all. We talked about this after the launch happened. We didn't see a whole lot of hype when we were waiting out for the graphics card, and we've heard behind the scenes that Nvidia is considering dropping the price by up to $50, and now it looks like some of those price drops are actually happening with the 4070, with the Polish retail dropping it by 9%, where it's below MSRP for what a 4070 could cost. But that doesn't seem to be the way that Nvidia wants to handle this situation. What happens when your sales are bad because your graphics card's too expensive for the specs that you're providing people with? Do you drop the price? Kyler, can I get a hell no?
Hell no.
What do you do? Just get back to work. If you're Nvidia, you decide, hey, we're gonna sell less of them. They're limiting production on the RTX 4070, at least that's coming out of some reports, that instead of cutting price, instead of making any sort of maneuver to prove that the customer was actually right and that this is ridiculous, they decided that they must limit the supply of the 4070 series and maintain a stable price system. So Nvidia firmly believes that you need to be paying $599 for a 70 class card that only has 12 gigabytes of VRAM, despite the fact that AMD is giving you more for less, and also the fact that they Nvidia used to supplement the fact that they were giving you less by increasing the speed, but now that they've decreased the speed and also given you fewer VRAMs, it's a bad situation altogether. And why would they drop the price? Why would they cater to you, you poor gamer? Why don't you have $600 for a graphics card? Oh, you need to eat? You need shelter? Wages have stagnated. All valid reasons. Gosh, Nvidia, come on. I don't have a nice way to spin this. The card is too expensive. People want more value for their dollar. Nvidia has come out and directly said that Moore's Law is dead and they're not going to be trying to drop the price anymore, whereas other companies are saying, hey, that's not true. Nvidia is putting their fingers in their ear and saying, la, 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 we can't hear you over the cost of all of the money we're making from AI and all the cryptocurrency cash we took in. Who cares about the video gamer who wants to just enjoy a video game now and then again, okay? You want to get high frame rate? You want to enjoy more value for less money? You should go back to the 2010s, okay? Because that era is over. Here in the 2020s, you spend more, you get less, because the more you buy, the more you save. Your frame rate, it goes lower. That was a bad reference to a callback to something. I'm done. This spices me up. Nvidia, lower the price, drop it to $499. It's the only right move. Anything else is shenanigans. That's your hot news. See you here on Monday for more.